Welcome back to another episode of the Inquisitive Mamba Podcast. This is episode 103. I hope everyone is having a great weekend. I hope you had a great week. On tonight's show for the Inquisitive Mamba Podcast, we have Manu Da Great. Manu Da Great is an MMA fighter. He is 6-2 in his career. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, Manu.
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure to be here. Funny thing, I was just actually thinking about it, right as you press the on button for the camera. We're literally in the cage right now. I get in the cage and fight people, and I have the same butterfly starting this as I do before I go fight another trained fighter. So it's a funny thing, man. It's crazy.
I just have to ask you, did you ever think that you would be doing a podcast or an interview in the ring where you train, where it all started for you?
No, I wouldn't, man. This what makes it surreal. This is why I just had those ad-for-spoken butterflies in my stomach, because I'm in my home right now. It's like my second home. I'm here almost every single day, except for Sunday, active recovery days, Coach Mike. But yeah, no, this is where this is where the magic happens, and just you're sprinkling a little bit more magic to it, so it makes it awesome.
So on the Inquisitive Mamba Podcast, we want everyone to know who you are as a person, right? Because you fight and everything. So kind of tell everyone, kind of who you are, and just, take it from there.
Okay, well, I'm 23 years old. I currently have one daughter who is about 2.5 and another daughter on the way. So I'm a girl dad, outnumbered 3-1. But I don't know. I grew up in locally here in North Fort Myers. I grew up in poverty, didn't have a lot of money. And once I got to be about 18 and got to be about the point where it was my time to, become an adult, I'd lost my mom. So that made it like a very hard point in my life to where I didn't have a lot of direction or even care. You're a young, angry kid, and that anger, look where we are. We're in a cage. But that anger was something that I had struggled with a lot growing up, and then once I had lost my mom, it was just a dark time, and through that, God puts people in your life at the right time. I grew up with a best friend of mine named Joey. He fights here. I give him all the credit to me even starting this. He got me wrestling in high school. But I had started training with him, and then, my lady and having a daughter. It's just, as soon as I hit the darkest point in my life and made it through that, God blessed me with so many things. I'm just an average kid, man. I just made it through the struggle. I made it through the hard times, and I didn't let it scar me and make me want to have another negative cycle or impact on the world. I just want to have a positive impact. I don't know, and I truly believe that God has had a hand in all of my life. I didn't have a good relationship with God up until I honestly was in the gym we're in right now. That's why I said where the magic happens. And I got to give a credit to that to everyone that I train with, and especially my coaches. More than a fighter, they've helped me become a better man and closer to God. And it's just I don't know, man. That's me. I'm just a father and a fighter. All I do is hang out with my family, or I'm in the gym training.
Well, your story is just unraveling, right? But I did want to ask you, when you lost your mom, how did you feel? At what age were you?
When I lost my mom, I don't remember if I was 19 or 20. It was around the time that I was turning 20. But I was already making not the best choices in life. I didn't graduate from my high school. I went to a credit retrieval school and still got my high school diploma. But I just, once I hit high school, and like I said, I grew up in poverty. My mom was a drug user. That's how she passed away. She overdosed. That made obvious quarrels in the marriage. So my parents ended up splitting up too when I was like 16 or 17. So I had just gone through a lot of bad stuff leading up to that point, so I was already making bad choices. So once my mom passed away, that's when, and it couldn't have happened at like a better or worse time in my life. That's why I say it's God's timing, not our time, and I truly believe that for everybody, even if you don't believe it for yourself, I believe it for you. He has impeccable timing, whether you realize it now or in the future. But I don't know, I felt almost numb, I had no progressions or goals in life at that point. I truly didn't. I hadn't found this sport yet. My daughter wasn't born yet. And I was with my girlfriend, my lady that I'm with now, but I don't know, man. It was like I felt like I lost my whole world. My mom was always my rock. I grew up playing Pop Warner football, and she was the loudest person on the sideline. She was my biggest cheerleader, and she was one person that always told me like I could be great. I could truly do anything I put my mind to. So that mindset of breaking the limits and nothing is impossible is something that she instilled in me since a kid, really.
I mean, there's really no words to say, because it's just when you speak to somebody like you've had such an incredible journey, and just losing your mom and just everything that you've gone through is just, it's crazy to think about. And, like you said, you're a strong believer in God and how everything, everything happens for a reason. And I strongly believe that. And I'm just so grateful and thankful that you're sharing your story, from everything you've gone through.
Yes, sir. I mean, like you said, when we got here, and you say you believe God put us together for this, brother. I truly believe it. Whether I'm talking about you or my coaches or my lady or Joey, the guy that got me into MMA in the first place. Everyone, it's like God's playing a big chess game with all these pieces in your life, and he wants what's best for you. He truly does, and if you you work hard, he will bless you. And I believe that I'm a very big example of that, because I truly came from almost nothing, and then I just moved into a new place.
Congrats.
You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
So I have my own place now with my lady and my daughter. My daughter, I was renting a bedroom for the longest time. Me, my lady, and my daughter were sharing a room. So three people to one room. Don't have a lot of space. So now being like a man and a father, now being able to go put my daughter like to bed at night in her room, or going to go play with her in her room, her having her own space, it's just like, it's got to be God, man.
Yeah, I truly believe that. But I wanted to ask you, what made you turn to God?
I've always had Christianity and like religion, in my life. Whether I'm talking about from my mom or my dad's side of the family, both sides went to church. But the Christians that I grew up around were very judgmental and structured, and that kind of honestly gave me a negative connotation of what it means to be a Christian. So I had, I was a child. I didn't know any better. I'd believe anything the next person told me or whatever I seen on the internet.
Yeah.
So it really took me going through life, life experiences, and then meeting the right people, and then just doing, reading the Bible, man, doing my research, having understandings, and then trying to develop that relationship with God. Just certain things just don't make sense unless it's Him. I can't explain the one thing that turned me to God. I can especially credit to our head coach, Coach Mike. He's a very godly man. He doesn't force it on nobody, but after like Sunday morning trainings, we'll do like a prayer session, and he'll read us a scripture and then tell us how he interprets it as a man in today's age, and tries to lead us right as fighters and as men. So I give a lot of credit to him, but there was no one moment. I truly believe it's everything I've gone through in my life, and the fact that I'm here. Mm-hmm. I have a happy family who's fed and has a roof over their head, and I'm doing great things. And another thing is like I push big of the idea of greatness. Manu Da Great. I have people from all over hitting me up telling me I inspire them to do things, and like, again, it's got to be God, man. I know it's not me. I'm just a vessel for Him.
Where did Manu Da Great come from?
This is a fun one. So, obviously, if you've if you paid attention to history class, guys, you know who Alexander the Great is.
Yeah.
He's a great conqueror from the past, and that was my idea of who I wanted to be in the cage. I wanted to be a conqueror. I wanted to be the embodiment of greatness. But not only is my name not Alexander, there's already an Alexander the Great Volkanovski in the UFC.
Yes.
So with that being said, I understood. I had to go a little bit separate ways. And then one day, Manu Ginobili's name actually caught my eye. So I did a little research on the meaning of Manu. And there's a couple different ones, but if you go back to its Hinduism background, it means the first man, or like the righteous man. So that just sat really heavy with me, and I've had thoughts early on in my career about changing it, but it is truly something that will forever be with me. I mean, I I have I don't know, I have more emotional connection to it than I have like a something I can explain why I chose it, but no, and just like I said, big on greatness. I believe, like you watching you do this setup and watching you like prepare this podcast. Like I kept telling you, like this is your craft. I could tell
Yeah.
you love this. You're a hard worker. Like it doesn't have to be in the cage. It doesn't have to be lifting weights. It doesn't have to be nothing crazy. But everybody has greatness inside of them. And everybody has the ability to touch that greatness and produce something great with what they have inside of them. It's about putting in the hard work, the long hours, and dedicating themselves to their craft. And again, it was enjoyable to watch your craft. You set this up and everything. It's awesome, man. I love seeing it.
Well, I'm a strong believer in the Mamba mentality. Kobe Bryant, I'm a big sports fan. I've been a sports fan since I was a young kid, but I just think that the Mamba mentality, instilling that in your everyday life is so important. It just, everything you do, I just think you should be giving 110% effort. Wayne Gretzky, Edmonton Oilers player, if you know hockey, you know who Wayne Gretzky is, the greatest goal scorer of all time. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yes,
Now, some people say Michael Scott from The Office, but Wayne Gretzky instilled that, and it goes back to the Mamba mentality with Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Have that 110% effort. Be passionate about everything you do. And if you're passionate about it, go for it. Keep going. Just like you, for your example, you're 6-2 in your career and you're just getting started. People are just starting to see who Manu Da Great is, and they're going to continue to see who you are because you're a good individual. You stand for what you believe in, and you're a good person. Just everything that you do and what you stand for is great, right? But don't go off the track, right? Keep going forward. I try to tell so many people, don't worry about what happened then, and don't worry about the future. Focus on what is going on in this exact moment. How can I better myself right now, right? Learn from your mistakes. Don't make that same mistake twice, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm not trying to be a preacher. I'm not trying to just, be a motivational. I'm just saying what I've seen, and I'm still learning. You're learning every single day. You're a father. You have, children, right? And you have another one on the way. So you get it, right?
Yeah.
And it's super important.
Yeah, no, man. I could hang on to every word you just said, but specifically, two things caught my eye. It's obviously Kobe Bryant, one of the most dedicated and decorated basketball players of all time. But his quotes. There's not a lot of other athletic like sports guys that I pull quotes from. But,
Yeah.
two guys are like Ray Lewis and Kobe, man. Their quotes get me fired up. And another thing you said, you were talking about focus on how to better yourself now. Man, it's truly a crazy thing. I found the ability to live my life in a way that like I can enjoy things that suck because I know that they will pay off in the future. And
Yeah.
it's like if in again, guys, this doesn't have to be physical or like physical training, like that's what I'm speaking on. Like I know I can go through a very hard session of training and find some type of enjoyment out of it because I know I will come out the other side better. Even though every moment of it sucked,
Yeah.
I will gain from it. So it's like, yeah, man, it's just like about one of the things I always say is sacrifice is key to greatness, man. You got to sacrifice comfort. You got to sacrifice, the early mornings, the late nights. No matter what you do, it's who really wants it, man. Someone's
Yeah.
gonna go take it if it's not you.
Somebody's going to take it from you. Exactly.
sir.
So let's talk a little bit about your career in the MMA, fighting, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the opportunities, and just how because, fighting is becoming really, really big. I mean, it's been around since the beginning of time, but you're 6-2. So walk me through your very first professional fight.
See, when I started out fighting, I was rarely, I wasn't training like a dedicated fighter, not at least here. I would come here maybe once or twice a week, or maybe once every other week with Joey. And then we would do a lot of like training at his house. He has a beautiful setup at his house with pads and stuff to train. But before I ever got my first amateur fight, I was fighting in an organization called Street Beefs. They are a very large backyard fight club on YouTube. And my very first fight with them, they had a pop-up event in Tampa, and it was like a spur of the moment, just go and do it. And that's where like that's where like I fell in love with it, because I've always gotten into fights growing up. I've always had the conflict and been there, done that. But I went to this place where I fought with other people, and there was a brotherhood from it. We all respected each other. We all were hanging out and laughing after, and it was like, it made me understand that it's like it's more than violence. Like it's about being a martial artist, and even like a backyard fight club could show me that about MMA and about martial arts in general, and that's where I kind of like fell in love with it. That fight I ended up winning. Street beefs, it's dangerous, but they let amateurs throw elbows, and they fight with no shin pads.
Wow.
Which even now, unless I fight out of state, I have to use shin pads, and I can't throw elbows to the head until I become a professional. Coming soon, guys. Coming very soon. But yeah, so that was dangerous. I actually finished it with elbows in the first round, and then took a boxing match after and won that too. But yeah, it just started with the Backyard Fight Club, and they talked me into driving 16 hours to Virginia to go fight for one of their belts. So, you know, if you've learned anything from me so far, I don't like to say no to things, man. So, I felt like a challenge. I rode up 16 hours, just me and my lady. And yeah, I went up there and beat one of their top guys, and I got the 145-pound belt. And then after that, Joey kind of told me, he's like, look, man, you're obviously enjoying this. You're doing this a lot. Like, focus. Like, get in the gym. Take it seriously. Like, I wasn't living a fighter lifestyle. If that makes sense. Like, I wasn't doing nothing crazy, like partying or nothing like that. But I just wasn't eating nutritiously sound. I wasn't training as a fighter should. And with that being said, I was fighting for Street Beefs, which I respected them, but they're not like a premier organization. So, I felt like that was okay then. But once he said that to me, I realized the opportunity I had to go amateur. I had amateur promotions messaging me and wanting me to start getting my record solidified and everything like that. So then I decided to like take a break from the Street Beefs and just train here. And then they offered me another title match for a weight up. I took it and won that. So at one point, I was technically a 2-belt holder for Street Beefs, which is crazy to say because I grew up watching them on YouTube, and to be able to like say I went and fought for them and even was a champion, it's crazy. And to think that that's a stage in my fight career that's gone and over with now. But yeah, then I jumped into the amateurs. That was a wake-up call because it was like everything they do in amateurs is preparing you to be a professional fighter. When MMA started early on, there was no amateurs. Like my coach, who was a professional fighter, he didn't have the opportunity to fight as an amateur. And now they have it as like in Florida, whether you win or lose 5 fights, you need 5 amateur fights to become a professional. As you stated, I'm 6-2. I started out going 6-0. I actually have lost my 2 most recent fights. But I have the opportunity to go pro now, but we've seen it from, guys locally. And, I mean, I'll respect anybody who steps into the cage at all, but guys will just take 5 fights very quickly and then go pro because they want a paycheck.
Yeah.
It's not fun to watch. It's not good for their health. I imagine they have families at home who are watching that. And it's a misrepresentation of the sport. I know I talked way past my first fight, so I'll let you get back to that.
No, you're good, man. No, I appreciate it.
I truly believe that fighting is an art form. Like, the creativity that comes from it. You look at every guy does something a little bit different. We all have the same goal, to submit or knock out or dominate position. But I truly believe it's an art form. And the most creative guys, I feel like, are the champions, are the ones that can truly just be free in a cage and use it like a canvas and just paint a picture of beautiful violence. I love it.
So I wanted to ask you, you've lost your last 2 fights. What has that been like? Like, take me through that. Just because I feel like it's so draining.
Yes. To start this off, I was 9-0 in Street Beefs. And then I started out my amateur career 6-0. So I hadn't tasted defeat in the cage. But one thing I have faced is a lot of defeat in life. So like I've been at rock bottom before. I've felt like I've been in dark places before. So when I lost my first fight, I lost to a first round submission, and I actually got my shoulder injured on the submission I got put in. But yeah, it definitely put me in a dark place. But that's when I had realized, like, been here so many times in life, and now I'm still in this great place in life. I'm just what's the word for it? My perspective of it is messed up. First of all, amateurs is about learning. Your record goes away as a pro, but losing a fight, it's you prepare so hard for a fight, and then I cut weight, so cutting weight is not easy, and it's like it just feels like all that hard work is for nothing, and then you start remembering the days where you were sore, you were really sore, so you took off that day. And you're like, that day I took off is why I lost the fight. Or then you get in your head, and then, like, it's the sport of I believe any sport, anything in life, it's you versus you. But especially the sport of MMA. It's truly you versus you. So when you lose a fight, you then get to a big battle with yourself. And you just have to be able to constantly overcome yourself and be the more positive thing in your head. I'd honestly say this second fight I lost, that one was a much easier loss to take. With that being said, I didn't get finished. It was a war, a bloody war. The crowd loved it. And that's kind of what I live for, man. It's like in the moment things. And there was a lot of moments in that fight to where, like, I was just having fun doing what I loved. And I didn't come out on top, but I had great moments in the fight. It was a close fight. I fought a game guy. Shout out to him. Yeah, man. It's just that's what I live for. That's really to be the best. You have to face the best, and he's one of the best. Bantamweights in the state, and so was I, and he got the better of me that night. But yeah, no, man. Just 3-round wars are things that you can enjoy and appreciate, and watching those fights and being an entertainer during the fight. There's things to take away. I made a lot of mistakes in that fight, but I don't know. Like I said, that's what amateur's about. So the second loss was a lot easier than the first. The first loss was hard.
To be the best, you have to beat the best. This is a thing for all those years in the NFL with Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes when the Chiefs were the underdogs in 2018 that season when the Patriots went into Arrowhead and the Patriots beat the Chiefs that year. And Tom Brady, after the game, went up to Patrick Mahomes in the Kansas City Chiefs locker room and said to him, "I'm passing the torch." And after that Super Bowl, when Brady went to the Bucs and they played the Chiefs, that was it of passing of the torch. But in order to be the best, you have to beat the best. And that goes with anything. That goes with fighting. That goes with football. It mainly focuses on sports mainly, but that's just how it is, right? But you can relay that into a personal life or your job or growth development. But I mean, I personally think it goes a lot into sports.
Yeah. It goes into competitive environments.
Right.
But that's the goal with anything.
Yes.
Whether you're
absolutely.
talking about your production, you're in competition with other productions.
So many.
And no offense to the little guys that are trying to start out, but if your competition is a big corporation, you're going up against a big guy.
Yeah.
You're doing something right.
Right.
So to know you're getting in there with the best, like Niko, like God bless Niko, man. Not only is he one of the best training partners and just all around great guys and a great father, he lost his last fight. He was in there with a legend, and then that's what it's about is being able to get in there and compete with the best. Win, lose, or draw, if you're in there with the best, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Live to fight another day.
Live to fight another day. So talk about the preparation leading up to a fight.
Okay, so man, my mind instantly goes to the weight cuts. The weight cuts are brutal. They're brutal on the mind and the body. And most guys don't cut as much weight as me. To give you an idea, I cut about 25, 30 pounds, and it goes to about a 6 to 8 week span. So throughout, I'm slowly depleting my body of especially anything processed. I already cut out, but lowering my carb intake, lowering certain oils, fats, different things, adjusting my diet. So when we're speaking about the hardship of the fight camp, you just have to keep in mind that while I'm going through all this specific training, I'm dealing with a change of diet, less food, less carbs. Carbs are energy. A lot of those things, you're dealing with. And then fight week, you have the actual water cut and everything. But with that being said, fight camp, man. If we're talking anything other than the weight cut, I love fight camp. Fight camp, you turn up the heat. You train it harder. You're preparing to go to war. And that's my mindset. I like the whole art of war, the whole samurai mindset. I respect every person that I fight, but at the same time, I understand that there can only be one winner. And to be completely clear, I never want to take someone away from their family or even injure them and take them out of a job. But I understand that one wrong move and somebody could possibly, pass away in a cage.
Yeah.
So there's something, I don't know, there's just something very poetic about, and it might sound crazy, but it's something just poetic and beautiful to me about the calm nature of violence that some of us have. Like me, I'm very, fight camp's very hard. I'm always very ramped up. We spar more in fight camp. We do way more cardio. Just you want to create just a peak strength in your body, a peak cardio. I could talk about specifics, but it's basically everything we do on the normal. We just ramp it up. Sparring rounds are harder. Coach is very smart. No one rarely gets cut or injured, even in sparring camp. But just working so hard leading up to that fight lets me be so calm fight week. Fight week is very light, very more cardio based, light runs, light bag work, shadow boxing. Everything before that was heavy bag work, heavy sparring, weight training, conditioning, everything like that. Wrestling, going live. Now everything in fight week is technique, calm. It's a mental preparation too. So once the fight comes out, like face-offs, I don't know if you've seen, but I'm a very intense person on face-offs. I give a whole war cry and everything. And that's my last bit of how do I explain it? That's where I let my emotions go. It's during face-offs. I'm very intense, very respectful, very intense. I do my whole flex, yell, scream. I'm very into it. But then fight, it's very calm, very calm. Walking out, I like to stay calm. Say a prayer before I go out, and that's the beauty of the fight camp is you're killing yourself. Over this 6 to 8 week span. To go out there and to go to war for 15, to do these hours and hours of hard work to crunch down into 15 minutes of beautiful violence is the way I can explain it, beautiful violence. Once you understand martial arts and you know what people are doing, to me it's like physical poetry. Every little position, everything, it's beautiful to watch. It's even more beautiful to be in. And yeah, man, I think everybody should at least step in the cage one time. I think it teaches you about yourself, it teaches you about life, and it humbles you. Even me, I thought I was the baddest man in the world, and then I stepped into Fight Me Combat Sports and got humbled very quickly. Love these guys here, man, but...
I'm going to have to second you on that and take a step away from that. I'm not stepping in the ring anytime soon.
With proper training.
With proper training. There's so many people that say that, I can step in the ring, or, I can do it. So a friend of mine, we were having this conversation, Nick Trigg, we were having this conversation a couple of days ago, and we were saying, what is the hardest sport? So I need your opinion. I feel like I know what you're going to say, but I still need it.
Wrestling.
Okay.
I know that I could say MMA and just double down on that being the hardest sport, but there's something about the grind it takes to be a wrestler. And wrestlers, I don't know, man. I wrestled for 1 year, and all the guys that I've always hung out with were wrestlers and stuff, so I've gotten lucky to kind of get rubbed off on the whole wrestler mindset, the way of thinking, but... yeah, man, we had a new guy come in. Coach said he was a wrestler, and I just knew, like, hard-headed, like, very forward, like, these, like, you go through some stuff during wrestling training. It hardens your mind, it hardens your body, and, I truly believe that, I think that's why it's the best base for MMA. Look at most MMA champions. They are wrestlers. I believe that is the hardest sport.
Well, they actually said boxing was the hardest sport, but that relates to fighting. Before we looked it up, because he was so stickler on boxing, and I said it's got to be hockey or golf. Ice hockey was 2, I think, and fighting was 1. I played hockey my whole life. I thought hockey was the hardest sport, but then again I realized fighting, you're getting hit and you're taking an absolute beating. You're in the ring, however you slice it. So I can understand that fighting is the hardest sport.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I will say about boxing is more than anything, boxing takes like inept ability of understanding of positioning, footwork, and it takes focus.
Yeah.
I mean, I love every art individually. I have my pros and cons with them. I love each one individually. I love the ability to mix them up. That's my forte too, is to mix them up. But boxing on its own, it took me the longest to come around because it was the hardest to mentally understand. The art of boxing, the chess match of boxing, it's not about going out there and punching you in the head real hard and knocking you out. We're playing, shout out to Sean Strickland, we're man dancing. We're man dancing.
That's a crazy mofo right there.
Yes, it is. We're man dancing in this little positional, and it's like I can move in a half inch this way, and it's like just a half inch can win. It's crazy when you boil down to the game of boxing. And shout out to Coach Mike for breaking it down to us the way that he does, man. Truly, it's like I just gotten to fall in love with it, and it took me the longest because it's truly, like you said, they said it was one of the hardest sports. It's mentally one of the hardest to understand, at least for me. But once I understood it, again, beautiful violence. There's just something poetic about martial arts that I love.
Who do you think the greatest boxer is of all time?
I mean, I have to... Man, I want to obviously say Ali, but I think I lead towards Ali a lot because of his personality and his positivity as a person. If you want me to be honest, if you want me to put one boxer against anybody in his prime, give me prime Mike Tyson. That man.
I knew you were going to say that.
He's just a force, and I truly believe that there's something about the spirit and mental strength of a man. Makes them a better fighter, no matter their technique or their experience. And I don't think no one had a tougher mind or a harder spirit than Mike Tyson. He's a scary dude.
Sticking on Mike Tyson, the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight is coming up July 20th on Netflix. It's going to be probably one of the biggest fights in, I guess, in our era, I would say. I mean, just for population-wise and how many people are going to be watching it. Who do you think is going to win, Mike Tyson or Jake Paul?
If I'm remembering correctly, they set the rules to be winner by KO only.
Yep.
I read that. So I want Mike to knock him out. I want Mike to knock him out, man. Gosh. And don't get me wrong. I'm gonna talk down on how he promotes himself and how he goes about his business as a boxer. But if you want me to be completely honest, Jake Paul shows you what anybody can do. He has more money than anybody that I can talk to about this idea.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a very athletic guy. I mean, he played high school sports, but he wasn't the most crazy pro-level athlete. But he dedicated time. And he took boxing serious. Yeah. And now whether you like him or not, the man can box. Yeah. And it just goes I truly believe anybody can do that. If he has the money and the resources. It's a lot easier for him. But if you dedicate the time and effort into it, anybody can do what he does. Anybody can become that level of a boxer if they dedicate their time and effort into it. But I want him to get knocked out. And I want Mike Tyson to do it. That would make my day. It'd be beautiful.
But it also goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the dedication, the preparation. Like, Jake, just because you have all the money and the resources, you're still having to go to spar. You're still having to go into the ring. And he's still really young and he hasn't fought a lot of big fighters, but he's still putting himself out there. And that's the key. And he knows how to sell. And he did exactly what he needed to do. He got the Mike Tyson fight. And now look at I mean, Jake showed a clip on he showed a clip on YouTube from 4 years ago when COVID time when he bumped into Mike Tyson. He went to meet Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson confused him with Logan. And that's why he says that he's mad. But Jake knows how to sell. He's an entertainer. And I personally think Jake Paul's going to win this fight. I think he's going to beat Mike Tyson. He's going to be favored for sure, Manu. And he's a lot younger.
I didn't tell you I would put money on Mike.
You want Mike to win.
Yes. I'd probably put the house on Jake.
Yeah,
you know
he's got to be favored big time.
Yeah, man. I mean, you heard.
Yeah.
I'll give him his flowers, man. I think he's an exceptional guy. I really wish that he would, change his level of competition a little bit as a martial artist.
That's fair.
I don't want to be going in there fighting, older gentlemen, even if they're seasoned older gentlemen.
Right.
As they say in jiu-jitsu, belt level goes by 10 years of age and 25 pounds. So if you're a 45-year-old purple belt that weighs 145 pounds, 25-year-old blue belt that weighs 225 pounds, you could probably get the best of you the majority of the time,
Well, I mean, sticking on that for a second, I mean, Jake Paul, his first, I guess, official fight against a professional boxer in his age group was Tommy Fury. And he lost. But Jake also did say, this was a while ago, that, I got hurt during camp. But then again, I've talked to some people, and everyone is hurt during camp. Everyone is hurt going into the ring. You're never going to be 100% fully healthy. But I would like to see Jake Paul and Tommy Fury fight a second time and see. Put your money where your mouth is. You've got all this money, Jake, and see from there, right? Because Tommy Fury beat him fair and square.
Yes,
he
sir.
beat him hand in hand. So I would love to see it, but I really think this Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight is going to be one for the ages. And I've been watching Mike Tyson. He's ready. He's ready. He's been training his ass off, and he's ready to go.
Yeah, he's a scary man. And I've listened to a couple different podcasts he's been on, and he's one of the guys that I enjoy his mindset of fighting. Because when, I truly believe to know a certain level of violence, you have to understand a certain level of love or compassion.
Yeah.
I think that's why God blessed me with a daughter, and I have another one on the way, because I deal with so much stress and violence and adversity, even in my chosen path, but even before. Now he's given me a way to understand such a level of love and compassion, because there's nothing like having your daughter run up to you and daddy, and hug your leg or go pick flowers with her. There's nothing like that. And to be able to understand both, it's awesome. It really is.
So we talked a little bit about you training with professional fighters earlier and stuff, but Niko Price is a big name and that lives in Southwest Florida. So what's it like being around a professional fighter like Niko?
Man, honestly, I wish I could have this thing about how it's this crazy thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was starstruck, but Niko's just a Florida man living in his natural habitat. He's like any just South Florida man. He likes to fish, he likes to hunt, he likes to fight, and he's a very strong believer in God, and he's just a normal, great guy. I mean, he's a father of 6 kids, I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think he might have.
No, you're right.
7th.
Oh, wow.
I know he has a really young one right now. It might have been the 6th, but it might have been the 7th. Sorry, Niko.
Wow.
But he's a mentor, man. I look up to him as a fighter and as a person. He's very personable with us. We go to usually we have sparring at Niko's house on Sundays. He has a whole setup, and we just go beat each other up. I actually have a post where I had a split right here on my forehead.
Oof.
And I was like Sunday Fight Club, and as I was taking the video, Niko turns around over his shoulder and looks at me. It's great, man. You think meeting all these people that are famous is gonna be. They're just normal people, and speaking to Niko, he's a great person, man. He's a great person. He's a great mentor. He doesn't shy away from putting the pressure on us, throwing heat at us, and making us feel it. But that just makes us better fighters. And with all that I've said about Coach Mike, Niko's the same. He's helped us become a lot better fighters and a lot better men. And he's already going through all the hard things and made all the wrong decisions and everything like that, coming up through his career. So it's awesome having somebody there that can tell you, like, hey, I've been there. That was a mistake. Don't make the same one I made. And being the guy that Niko is, you could trust him. So, like, having the trust in Niko and my coaches who have all been inside the UFC,
Yeah.
Cornering Niko in all their PI facilities, so these are, like, I'm blessed to be with these these are seasoned guys. Like,
Yeah.
they know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. And, I give it, glory to God and then appreciation to them because I'm just a man. And without these people and my God, I don't think we'd be doing this podcast right now.
I don't think so either, but I did want to ask you, what's your favorite strike submission to use in a fight?
I enjoy the rear naked choke. There's something graceful about, like, being a human backpack on top of somebody's back. And I'm the type of guy that I'll jump your back while you're standing. So it's like I do it a lot in sparring. It's frustrating. The guys hate it because, I mean, just imagine having someone just attached to your back trying to choke you. It's not fun. And then they do it right back to me. They give me back. That would definitely be my favorite submission. And if we're talking about strike, man, I just love the overhand right. It's always trusty. Just trust in the overhand. Things are going bad. The overhand double leg. It's a beautiful combination.
I'll give you a quick funny story. When I was younger, I got into a lot of sports, and I ended up doing MMA Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a week. And I got my ass handed to me by every single person in that gym, ring, whatever you want to call it, the blue mats. And I was like, this just is not for me. But hey, at least I tried it out. So you said everyone should get in the ring.
Yeah.
It wasn't like super like physical contact, but or as in like getting hurt. But it was intense.
That's what I mean. I mean, you came in and you went through it. And like you had told me when you came here, you've been here before. You've trained here once or twice before. I think it's not even about getting in the cage. And, like, I'm not saying everybody should technically go out and have a fight. Let me redact it. I got a little excited. Let me redact it a little bit. I love beautiful violence. We'll keep quoting that, beautiful violence. But I think everybody should get in the gym and train. And I think everybody should push their physical limits a little bit, and they'll surprise themselves with how little they could do before it seems hard, and then once it seems hard, how far past that they could push. And then if you get to the point to where you're good enough, the coaches will let you spar.
Yeah.
Sparring another man is very humbling, and it also creates a true brotherhood. Every guy I fight, I'm on a basis where I could text them and be like, hey, man, how's your day going? How's training? And they're right back with me like, great, brother, thanks for hitting me up. How's training going with you? How's your diet? Like, and these are guys we spent 9, 10, 15 minutes, punch each other in the face.
Woo.
But it builds some type of respect.
Yeah.
And I think every man should try it, and even women too who want to learn how to defend themselves. I mean, Coach Mike has some girls in here that have hands that yeah, they're not fun even for us guys. No, for sure. There's some trained killers in here. Coach Mike's a great coach. But just going back to it, man, whether it's boxing, whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether it's wrestling, I think everybody should just give it a chance. Even if they don't ever plan to compete, it creates fitness, health, it just discipline in life, and it gives you something positive to do in your life. And then you understand once you train with people, whether it's sparring or not, it creates a brotherhood and a family. And being a person who doesn't have much actual blood family, this is my family. Whether I'm talking about my coaches, my training partners, it's just that we're one big family, man. My coaches will call me whenever, just ask me how I'm doing, check on the girls and everything. It's great, really, really being a part of something bigger than yourself, and understanding that not only me, not only Niko, not only Coach Mike, but a lot of the guys in here too. And it's not a necessity by any choice, but a lot of us, we're doing it for a bigger purpose. We want to give glory to our God, and we want to thank Him for even having the opportunity to do this thing that we love, and being safe while we do it, and just all the blessings He gives us, man, and just shining light on Him, and hoping to influence other people to look into our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and maybe bring him into their heart too. So it's just awesome being a part of it, man.
So talk about Manu's merch, because I saw on your Instagram you have merch now. So talk a little bit about that.
Oh man, I meant to bring you a shirt too.
I know, I saw one on Instagram. I was like, I hope he brings it.
Yeah, I meant to bring
It's all
you a
good.
shirt.
You're forgiven, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get you one though, for sure. But Manu's merch, man. I'm a very creative person. I display that in my fighting, I think, a lot too. But I'm coming out with a lot more. But right now, I have one shirt out. I completely created the design myself, and it's something that I want to further go. I want to create something that can be like, my merch. Sugar Sean has his merch.
Absolutely.
But I also want to create a side of it that's streetwear.
Nice.
So, like, you don't have to be an MMA fan. I want to be able to create merch that it's like you see a shirt and you're like, I would wear that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And, so, like, I want to go two ways with it. I want to give my fans and supporters a way to, support me and have something, sentimental of my fight career. But I also want to help, give myself another creative outlet. And it's something I enjoy doing. I like producing products I can be proud of, whether it's fights in the cage, awesome merch, different things. But I have a lot of big things coming with Manu's merch. A lot of big things coming. I'm working with a few different people on collaborations, actually, for a few different limited time shirts, and we're only going to be dropping about 25, 50 shirts. And then slowly over time, selling the stock through different giveaways and stuff like that. And speaking of merch, I want to give a shout out to God Hears Clothing. I just got their merch in. This shirt, I got a sweatsuit, All Things Through Christ right here. They are a Christian athletic brand. I've recently become a brand ambassador with them. They put out quality clothing and they shine the light on our Lord through it.
That's awesome.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
They wanted to work with me, and it's just another way that I think God brings people together. So shout out to them. Yeah, man, just a lot of great things going. Between in the cage and outside of the cage. I have a big understanding that it takes more than just being good inside the cage. It takes good being outside the cage. And I'm learning to enjoy every part of that process, whether it be, merch, which link in my bio for the to get your shirt. But whether it be the merch, the doing my own editing on my videos,
yep.
Trying to find different ways to reach fans or to just reach people.
Most definitely.
Like I'm teaching, I'm helping teach the kids jiu-jitsu class here now.
Wow, that's awesome.
Bro, I love it. Truly, I love it. Almost honestly, coaching, and I've only done 3 classes so far, but coaching kids is like, bro, it's just not only sharing the knowledge with the next generation, knowing how good learning a martial art can be, but like, there's just something about like, just seeing the excitement in their faces, and like, some of the kids here, know me because they'll do like the boxing classes, so they're like, they look up to me, and just having the knowledge and ability to be a coach, like, it's just a beautiful thing. And shout out to CJ, our jiu-jitsu coach, for asking me to help him and wanting me to be a part of that kids class. 4:30 Monday through Friday, kids jiu-jitsu, Fight Me Combat Sport. Come out, first couple classes free. It's a great place, man. I love being here. Like I said, if we're talking about fighting or even just other things, we're just one big family here at Fight Me Combat Sports. It's a great place, kid-friendly, family-friendly. Come out and chase greatness. What
was your welcome to fighting moment?
My welcome to fighting moment, honestly came with Joey. And shout out to Joey, he calls out Joey, Florida boy, Rutherford. Shout out to Joey, man, because I always thought, fought a lot growing up, didn't lose a lot of fights, and I had a bad ego complex, thought I was the man. And then Joey wanted some help training. So I came in with this big ego, and I've always had a little bit more weight on me than Joey. Like, I fight at 135, he fights at 125. He's always been like my one of my closest friends growing up. When I came to train with him, the first time that we trained together, he just manhandled me, and it was purely through technique. I knew nothing, and he just knew the basics, basically. Yeah. And it was just like, wow. And the whole time I'm thinking, like, not only is Joey a nice guy, so he's not trying to hurt me, but it's like, if this wasn't my friend, I would have been hurt plenty of different times. So that was a big wake up call, and not only that, but coming in here, my first time in here, coach had me sparring because I came in here still cocky. Told him I wanted to fight, so he had me spar somebody, and yeah, sparring one of Coach Mike's boxers and taking a body shot. Yeah, that's from men to boys, or boys to men. That'll turn you to a man. Yeah, no. So those were definitely my two moments that woke me up to like, wow, like this is what fighting is. Like everyone who doesn't compete thinks fighting's just this crazy rush of 5-10 seconds, what they see in bars or on the street or in videos, and there's 6 or 7 guys against 3 or 4 guys. But when you're one-on-one, mano-a-mano with 3 to 5 minutes to just go at it, It's almost like you realize you're physically and like metaphorically, you just got locked in a cage with a guy that wants to take your head off. And
wow.
Yeah.
Not fun.
So, no, so those are definitely my two comes to grip with what fighting really is moments.
So away from fighting, because everyone has their own personal downtime, free time, what do you like to do in your free time?
So that's a hard question, man. Honestly, I've gotten to the point to where I truly do live my life like as a full-time fighter. So honestly, like my enjoyments in life are like hanging out with my family, cooking. Like I love to cook because I'm so big on nutrition and diet and everything like that I've gotten accustomed to cooking at like every single meal for myself, not trying to eat anything processed. And just like MMA, as I do this thing more and more, I just keep falling in love with cooking. Recently I've started baking too. Like I started with just meats and stuff, and then it started with the meats and the veggies. But now I've started like baking, and it's like it's a whole different world, man. I feel like a stay-at-home mom talking about baking. But I would take baking classes. I love to cook. And another thing is like being a fighter and having weight cuts and having to change your diet. I understand I have a bad relationship with food. So like I love to eat. So like that's another thing. Like some of me and my lady's favorite things to do is just go try out new restaurants.
What do you like to cook?
Me personally, if you're talking about like favorite meal specifically,
favorite meal.
I ate it like 3 times this week. Asparagus, steak, and sweet potatoes.
Now that's a good one. That's simple.
Depending on my mood, I'll throw some eggs in with the steak. But something about a sweet potato, man. A sweet potato, if you have a sweet tooth but you want to be healthy, man, cook a sweet potato up, throw some cinnamon and some honey on it, throw it back in the oven for
butter?
5 minutes. You can use butter.
Okay.
You can use butter. Like I'm not gonna lie, I ate butter on mine last night. But
you're not supposed to be eating butter?
Well, see, that's the thing, though. I can eat butter. You just have to be careful because, and I don't want to go into the whole deep end of it.
Yeah.
But I truly believe that we are being slowly fed more and more chemicals through our food system, and I believe that unless you are spending more money buying organic, buying grass-fed beefs, buying pasture-raised eggs, you're not really buying the best things for your body. And I think it goes to show on my weight cuts too, because I could buy just generic name brand healthy things, and my weight cut will be affected unless I go by the organic, all natural. So I found that it's like a way to live too. Just Whole Foods, man. Whole Foods. Just like you can. I mean, anything if people like certain things, and they don't understand how easy it is to make those things. And like I found enjoyment cooking, so I truly believe people can too. I'm actually working on becoming a certified nutritionist and health and fitness coach because I want to share that with people. Not only the healthy living, the healthy eating, and the healthy lifestyle. And spoke about sharing martial arts. That's what I want to use as one of my main forms of fitness is martial arts, hoping that people will find the light of it like I have too. And just help people be more healthy, man. I truly believe we're in a health crisis in America now, just with our food system. I truly believe, and it's worse for the children who don't know. And I realized I grew up poor. I ate a lot of very processed foods growing up and didn't realize that. I just got what was cheap and what was quickest. And even, when I turned like an adult, of course I did that too. And until I started like really focusing on nutrition for my fight camps and stuff, that I realized like just how crazy the things that we eat is, how much chemical is in all the box make stuff and all the quick cook stuff, and it's just so much easier to just cook from scratch, and it's not hard to just get some veggies and make them, or some meat and make it like fast food is scary, man. I don't eat none of that stuff. I truly think it's scary.
What's your cheat meal? You gotta have one.
Oh, cheat meal. Oh, see, I'm a big sweets guy.
Oh, okay.
I'm a big sweets guy. Any donut, cookie with milk, bad. See, I can be the most disciplined man all day. 9 p.m. hits, and I'm like the Cookie Monster going to search for what sweets we have. I have to have my lady hide them, man. I'm bad at
Oh, yeah, same.
You know, I would like to think I spoil my lady a lot. My lady eats dessert with almost every dinner. She has some type of dessert. It's like in fight camp, like whether we bake cookies or, you know, she gets like a little personal serving of cheesecake from Publix or something, man. I always gotta like fight the urge. I'm like,
you're like, oh, I can't do it.
So
I can't do it.
bad. Mental fortitude.
Right?
Come on.
Oh my gosh, it's so. Oh, I get the same exact way. I'll be at work, and we had a St. Patrick's thing, and they'll do like a potluck, and they stack the whole entire freezer with ice cream. And during the day, I'm like, I need some ice cream. It's in the freezer, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. The first time I did it was earlier in the week, and then the second time I went back, I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna be so bloated. I have to go to the gym later. I can't do this. So I totally feel that, but no, I totally understand that one.
So I definitely say definitely just sweets and milk, and that's another thing I throw in is from dieting. I don't know if anyone else experiences, but dieting, milk affects me differently now. I used to drink like so much milk
bloats you. It bloats you. I used to when I
milk and white bread. Or
with,
like
it's all
enriched flour.
So many carbs.
I'm not eating like whole grain or sourdough.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
No, I feel that exact same way. You freaking Publix, man. You get a pub sub, and you feel like you just gained 100 pounds from the bread. You're like, this pub sub is so good, and then you go and eat it, and you're like, there's so much bread in this.
I know.
I feel that exact same way.
I had to switch over to the wraps for pub subs.
I like.
I'll never give them up. I'll never.
No, I can't either.
When I get
chicken tender sub.
Yeah, when I get in fight camp, I'll switch from the fried tenders to the baked tenders.
Okay.
Because I'm cutting out all the oil that's fried in.
Yep.
So pub subs for life. But there's a point in time like that last 2 weeks of my fight camp, I eat nothing but boiled chicken, eggs, and steamed veggies 3 times a day. Not a lot of flavor in that. I can still like use like low calorie sauces and like season it with seasonings and stuff. But from like Tuesday, Wednesday on to weigh-ins on Friday, I have to cut all sodium and all potassium to make for a better water flush.
Okay.
I usually wake up Friday morning anywhere from 8 to 11 pounds over, and then I cut 8 to 11 pounds in water Friday morning and then weigh in. I fight at 135, but to be completely honest with you, I'm only 135.
You weigh 135 pounds?
I only weigh 135 for about an hour.
You look like you weigh way more than that.
165 right now.
Oh, okay. I'm 165, 167 in that ballpark there. So
I fight at 35. So
you fight at 135, so you have to cut 30 pounds? How the heck do you do that?
Through diet changes, man. Like right now, I just fought about 3.5 weeks ago. And I haven't been able to train right because I got my nose broken my last fight. So, my training's been a little bit different. So I haven't been able to do as much exercising, lately. But, just diet changing and hard exercising, bro. Like, I really do attribute it to, like, nutrition. Like, if you cut out carbs, unless we're talking about, like, vegetables or fruits, you have no bread, none of that, just fruits and vegetables, and you're eating like healthy meats and stuff. I can healthily get down to about 144, 145 pounds.
Wow.
And I look shredded. Now,
I believe it.
I don't think it's sustainable.
Right.
I think I could probably weigh about 150 on a great diet at all times.
But you have to go down to 135, you said.
Yes, so I get down to about 145.
Okay.
And then that week, I'm slowly eating less and less food. And like I said, I cut sodium and I cut potassium. So don't get me wrong, I'm still eating. I'm just portioning it smaller and smaller, and then I'm water loading. So I'm filling my body with water.
So are you freaking out when you're at 140 before like a couple days before the fight, and you're like, oh, I got to get down to 135 because if I'm not 135, I can't fight.
I used to freak out about it, but at this point, I've done it so many times that I'm very comfortable. Like Joey has done it a few times, so like he's the guy. But honestly, like I walk a lot of our fighters through it because they see my body transformations, A, and B, they know how much weight I cut, but I don't miss weight. I make it every time, and I do it able to put on 20 to 25 pounds before we fight the next day. So I weigh in at 35 and then fight anywhere from like 50 to 60 the next day. And I feel good doing it. But yeah, no, just cutting a lot of water weight, man. It definitely drains. It takes you out of you. It's mentally draining. You want to quit.
Yeah.
But knowing that I've done it so many times, it's almost like you enjoy the process. Like I said earlier, like enjoying things that suck now, with the understanding that they'll pay off later, like that mindset. I just live it every day. Like I'm up at 5 a.m. every morning doing a morning workout. And then whether I drop my daughter at school or my lady does, then I go to work. I get off work, hopefully in time, help with the 4:30 children's class or 4 p.m. Children's class.
Yeah.
If not, then I'll come in a little bit later and do like the 5:30 class for the adults class.
Yep.
But it's like as soon as I'm off work, I'm here, and then either I'll get like dropped off here, get a ride here, and then my lady will pick me up, or like I'll have the car, and then I'll be like here till nighttime, almost my daughter's in bed, and then I go home. So it's like a lot of things suck, but you gotta focus on the positives and understand the blessings where they are, and like that's one of the things that makes the fight cut easy is because I understand all the positives, like everything, like you want to quit so bad in that, especially when you're cutting that weight, because you said a couple days before weighing like 140. I wake up the morning of weigh-ins and I'll usually weigh 144. So I have 9 pounds to cut.
What?
And then, so at that point, I would have stopped drinking water the day before and ate my last meal the day before.
You can lose 9 pounds in a day?
I could, right now, I could probably drop about 8 in about an hour and a half. Straight water weight.
That's insane.
It is, and it's not healthy.
I didn't think it would be.
It's not healthy, but our coach has, I said they have, they have access to the UFC, PI and all that. They've been around professionals doing it. So they have it down to a science to where it does the least wear and tear on your body. And when I say down to a science, I mean like I know like I said, like no sodium or potassium in my body. I can't have any in my body, so that there's nothing in my muscles that holds on to that water. So it just all drains. So 9 pounds is like 2 30-minute, anywhere between like 15 and 25 minutes in a hot bath, and then going to like you've seen aloe vera wrapped in towels cutting weight.
Yeah. That's
getting out of like an extremely hot bath, and then you sweat in the bath, and then you sweat in the towels. 2 or 3 of those baths, and I'm down 9 pounds.
Wow. So before we officially wrap up, I want to ask you, what kind of advice do you have for young fighters pursuing a career in MMA or professional fighting?
Number one thing I would tell you guys is you can't do it on your own. I live the mantra of greatness. I truly believe I have greatness inside of me, and I think that everyone else has greatness inside of them, whether they can tap into it. That's each individual's endeavor to complete. But you can't do it alone. I wouldn't be the fighter I am without my teammates, without my gym, especially without God. I have a very, very encouraging and dependable lady who is very helpful in everything. Yeah, man, just get around the right people. Find a gym and trust in people to help you grow. And not only that, guys, but it's mat time. Mat time and drillers are killers, man. I believe in sparring. I think, you should spar once or twice a week at least, but sparring should be very controlled. But drillers are killers in mat time. Nothing beats experience. just get in the gym, guys. There's no excuse. Just get in the gym.
5 questions to end the show.
Yes, sir.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Hopefully on Dana White's Contender Series or past that. One of those routes. I see myself as being a business owner too. At that point, I want to start owning. I want to create my own business within the next 5 years. I already have like a template of what that looks like in my mind. And I just hopefully in the next 5 years I can affect more people and truly help people understand their purpose, honestly, because that's what part of all of it is for me is having is being that person for people. Even if it's guys in the gym, I'm like the like cheer everybody on, let's go guy. Just knowing that I understand, I affect people's lives in a positive manner, win, lose or draw.
What's your craziest fighting story?
When I won my can I go grab it real quick?
Grab what?
One of my
yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is gonna be fun to pick up on the mic. Okay, so my craziest fighting story was when I won this beautiful medal I won from Flex Fight Series. They're a New York-based promotion, but they had an event down here, and I won their 135 title. I took this fight on 2 weeks' notice. I had just won my first belt from Lelio Code, and I had split my eyebrow on that fight.
Oh, wow.
So we came into this fight not being able to spar for 2 weeks, not being able to do any like hard. I just fought, you know what I'm saying? In the fight week before that, you don't do a lot of hard training. So it's like I didn't get a lot of hard rounds for this fight. So we were a little unsure about how that was going to go, and we were 100% certain I was going to re-split my eyebrow open. So the coaches were telling me, like, if you want to take this, you got to accept some things. You got to accept it's going to be a hard fight. UFC fighter Billy Quarantillo, he's this kid's head coach. Shout out to him and his gym, a great gym over there. But I went in and I beat this guy dominantly in the first round.
Wow.
I didn't take a scratch, nothing. I won my belt, and then as I was coming out of the cage, I ripped this thing up, getting all excited, and I chipped my tooth. So if you want to know about me, I'm the type of guy that wins a fight flawlessly and then hurts himself before he even gets out of the cage. But that's something I'll always I'll never get that tooth fixed, man. I want to always have that memory of smashing this thing's. That thing's heavy, guys. Yeah, it's heavy, so it chipped my tooth. That's probably one of my craziest fighting stories, honestly. Yeah, or this past fight. I mean, I got my nose broke in the first 10 seconds, and then I've never had my nose broke before, so I was profusely bleeding out of my nose for the next 9 minutes.
That's insane. What's your funniest story non-fighting related?
Oh, gosh. The birth of my daughter, man. The birth of my daughter. I get in the cage and fight grown men. I don't back down from nobody.
Yeah.
I have God in my heart, and I fear no one, man. When my daughter was born, dude, it was crazy. I wasn't nauseous at all.
Yeah.
But it was like every 10 minutes or so, I had to vomit. And I was going to the bathroom, and I was vomiting.
Oh,
and then I
man.
come back out, and my lady's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know why. I just keep throwing up. And then she's going through labor, and then I just keep running to the bathroom. Oh, she was not happy about it. I was like, I made it for the birth of my daughter, but I don't know what it was, man. I didn't I had normal nerves.
Yeah,
I had
of course.
normal anxiousness.
Yeah.
I'm an anxious person.
Same.
But yeah, bro, my stomach was in a knot that day, man. That she still talks to me about that to this day. She's like, remember when I was giving labor and you just couldn't stop going? And I was like, yeah, I don't know what it was.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, wow. I haven't thought about a question like this in a while. This
Yeah.
was my favorite question back in middle school. Gosh. Man. Honestly, if I had a superpower, This is crazy. I'm stumped right now. Teleportation. For sure. Teleportation. Yeah, man.
Teleportation?
We're doubling down. Teleportation.
All right. Last question. Who was your biggest inspiration?
My biggest inspiration in life, honestly, is my mom, man. I had spoke about she was a drug user, but it started with a car accident she got into and started getting prescribed medication, pain pills, and then it became into a habit. She was a great mom. She had been through a lot, but was a great mom. I'm still very yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no sir. Very respectful. Raised the right way. And I attribute her to like the man I was able to become too. But yeah, man, she just and my mom was the type of woman who would try to go toe to toe with grown men.
Wow.
She taught me to like never fear anybody and never let nobody disrespect you. She was the type of parent that if I came home from school because I got into a fight, as long as I didn't like swing first or start the fight, or lose the fight, she didn't mind. So like she not saying she had the most perfect parenting style, but it made me be the man I am today. She's one of my biggest inspirations. And then like I got to give a nod to Niko too, because Niko came from the same place I am with the same dream I have. And is able to do it at the highest level and be just a great man of God and a great family man. And that's the two things I aspire to be.
Yeah.
More than I want to be a UFC champion, I want to be a great man of God, and I want to be the best father I could be. And then don't get me wrong, you know, being a great MMA fighter is you know, right up behind those things. But those two things are more important to me than anything else.
So where can listeners find you? Where can everyone find you? Plug your socials.
Okay, yes, sir. Everything runs about the same. It's Manu Da Great official on Instagram. You could just search up Manu Da Great on Facebook. YouTube the same, Manu Da Great. All the way through. I have a TikTok too that I'm less active on, but yeah, man, just Manu Da Great on all of them. That'll bring you up. I'm most active on my Facebook and my Instagram. I do giveaways. I'm looking to start adding more longer video types to my YouTube page. Yeah, man, go follow me on Instagram. I'll give you a follow back and cop a shirt from me.
The Inquisitive Mamba Podcast, episode 103. It was a pleasure to have Manu Da Great on the show. The Inquisitive Mamba Podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok. We just hit 1,000 followers on TikTok. We're almost at 1,500 on TikTok now. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We keep getting great guests. It was a pleasure to have Manu Da Great on the show. You know where to find him. He's 6-2 in his MMA career. He's only going to keep going up. Sky's the limit. And from our conversation before we even got on the podcast, like Muhammad Ali said, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yes, sir.
That was awesome, man. Thank you so much.